Want to welcome all of you. Accept my good mornings. I'm based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I'm Gabriel, your engagement coordinator, and it's 10 a.m. here. If that's not your case, please accept my good afternoon or good evening. So thank you again for visiting this amazing event, which is Silver Summit. As you know, we host 3 Silver Summits a year, and these tackles events and things that are highly important or are trendy. So that's the idea. Today we have our amazing speaker, which is Carissa Reiniger, and we go to her in just a minute. First, I would like to recommend everybody, if it's possible for you, to be fully on camera. This is going to be a dynamic conversation. It's beautiful to see you. You are amazing slappers, and this creates this one room that we have. So thank you for that. Also, have your Slap Center open. That will be helpful. You should be ready to apply this knowledge. Remember, it's as useful as you use it. Otherwise, it's just knowledge, and we don't do anything with it. I want to do a special announcement. We have, as you know, we launched Slap in Spanish a while ago. So I want to introduce myself again, just in Spanish, and give a very good welcome. Bienvenidos a todos al Silver Summit, donde las ganancias son una habilidad. Gracias por estar acá con nosotros. That's going to be just for because we don't all speak Spanish. Well, I would love to introduce our esteemed speaker. I'm just going to spoil it for a little second. Carissa with me here. And as you know, Carissa Reiniger has been supporting a small business for quite a while right now. We launched Silver Lining 19 years ago. She has supported over 19,000 small business owners. So Carissa Reiniger, please be welcome to the room.
Guys, hey everybody. It's nice to see you. I am going to remove my spotlight. Okay, good. Colombo just did it. I don't think I like seeing a picture that big of myself, and I'm sure you don't either. But it's lovely to be here with all of you. It's nice seeing everyone calling in from all around the world. So thank you guys for being here. As Colombo said, it is different times for all of us. I'm calling in from California this morning, and so I have a new understanding of the commitment of all of you PST folks who come to so many slap meets. We're going to start them at 10 Eastern moving forward because I now understand your pain if you're on the West Coast. But welcome to everybody around the world. One of our biggest problems at Silver Lining is time zones, because if it's late enough for the PST friends, then it gets very, very late for Africa and Asia and Australia. So but we'll figure it out. So the topic today is profit is a skill. And what I wanted to do just to open up the conversation and get us going, it's a great room, which is a lot of fun. There's a lot of us here. I'm going to have 5 people put your hand up. And so if you can use just like the little emojis here in Zoom, if you don't know how to do that, then just type into chat hand up, and I'll figure it out. But I want to have 5 of you open us up by talking about why profit as a skill matters to you. Why did you show up today? What are you hoping to get out of it? I have a very strong point of view around the concept that profit is a skill, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And it's going to be very interactive and very action oriented. So we're going to actually look at slap numbers and figure out how to make sure that we are all building the skill of profit. But I want to start with just a check-in. So if 5 of you are willing to put your hands up, then we're going to go to you off volume. But as that's happening, if all of you or if many of you would be willing to just type into chat, what do you want to get out of today? Why are you here? What does profit as a skill mean to you? Why is this topic important to you? Where are you at right now as it relates to this concept of profit? All of those good things. So if you can put an opening thought into chat, and then let's go to Tanya and then Helene as the first 2 brave people that raise their hands. Oh, and then Tequila. So we'll do Tanya, Helene, and then Tequila, and then Bethany. Oh, look at us. We're getting close to 5. All right, go ahead, Tanya. You first.
Hi, how's my audio? Can everyone hear me?
That's great.
Okay, wonderful. So firstly, the first thing that I think about when it comes to profit being a skill, I think about the emotional part of charging more than what you're making. Not only even just charging what you're worth, because profit, we're not talking about big profit, but even just making profit, like charging more, because, when I first started, I was so loving, I wanted to give everything away. And then in 2016, I ended up living in my car. And I realized that I had to create a way to get paid for what it is that I do, even if it's intangible. So that's one. And then two, I ran into an issue with tangible product when it comes to profit because I didn't factor in the cost of having the goods shipped over from China, the cost of storing them, and those sorts of things. So one year I actually almost ended up paying for my customers to buy their product because the shipping cost was so high and I didn't factor it in. And so in order to make a profit, I had to end up charging more. And profit and the people understood. I was like, listen, if I sell it to you at this, because I'd already done pre-orders, and I was like, if I sell it to you at this price, I'm going to end up in the hole. And people were nice about it in terms of paying more, and they understood it was like a family thing. But if this was the general public, I think it would have been a big problem. So profit is making a profit is a skill on the tangible and intangible side. Thank you. Back to you, Carissa.
Awesome. Thank you, Tanya. Tanya, yes, I do think we're going to talk about mostly the tangible, but it is impossible to talk about money and profit without addressing the emotional. So it is impossible. So we will definitely arrive at both of those, but thank you for opening up. So honestly, it's the perfect way to enter the conversation. So thank you. Helene, over to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Helene, you're PST too. I apologize for what I've done to you today.
No, it's okay. I'm accustomed. On the thought of profit as a skill, I joined the call today because I am in the process, or like gradually you get in the process of learning how to attract profit or how to create profit in your business. And I think I like the title that profit is a skill, because you really have to learn, I think, how to find your ideal clients, and then how to deliver the best service to them in order to earn that profit. So I think that's what attracts me to the title of this room, as profit as a skill, because it is a skill, because you have to develop yourself in order to to offer the service or product and a service, because not everybody has a service business, but it's a skill because you have to personally develop the skills in order to create profit.
Amazing. Thank you. Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes. Thank you, Helene. All right, Tequila.
Hello. So I'm kind of on the same border as Helene. I was very much attracted to the topic. I believe that profit is definitely a skill, something that you can learn and develop and grow over time. Like a talent is something that you can do, right? But a skill is something that you can more so grow and develop. And I want more profit. And so I was like, yeah, let me get on here. It's just, when we have a business, it's so easy to just get caught up in um, being an employee in your business and not learning the skill of earning profit. And I think I've gotten lost in the sauce, and I really want to develop this skill of profit. I never thought of it that way, so I love this topic.
Awesome. Thank you. I know. I think I love that. I'm just going to call out, you said, I never thought of it that way, right? I think that profit is this like elusive idea. If I just work harder, then I'll make more money. But actually, I think there's relief in the idea. Actually, no, maybe this is a skill we can build. And if it's a skill we can build, it becomes a little bit less mysterious. And so that's what we're also going to do. We're going to try and take the mystery out of how the heck we make more money together. We're going to go to you, Bethany, next, but I just want to do a small little side note. Sashini just reminded me. So some of you guys may or may not have been competing for the American Small Business Growth Program Challenge. And Tequila, who we just heard from, is one of our grand prize winners. Ooh. Amazing, amazing, amazing. It was a hot contest, I have to say. Just a little like inside story about the behind the scenes at Silver Lining. we didn't even imagine that there would be so many people who were so high performing. And so we had this crazy run with 8 people who tied for first place, which is like the most amazing testament to all of you guys. It was so fun and also very complicated because we thought, oh, well, what did we do with that? We didn't plan for a tie. So we figured it out. But Tequila was one of the winners. And so I get to hang out with her and the 4 other winners in Santa Fe in August. And I'm looking forward to it. But a big congratulations, Tequila. It was hard to win that challenge. And so good on you. Good on you. Very, very, very good. Okay, Bethany, over to you. Profit is a skill.
So what I realized is I carried conditioning that I saw from my mom of living check to check into my business. So I'm in this perpetual state of work to make enough to pay the bills. And no matter how much my income increases, my profit doesn't increase. So it's a skill that I've never learned, that I need to recondition beliefs and behaviors so that it is not a repeatable, exhausting cycle that just happens in my business.
Oh, good add. Yes. Thank you, Bethany. We all, of course, are carrying around all of our beliefs, traumas, realities, ancestral realities around money. And I'll just add one of the punchlines that I was going to say later, but Bethany, what you said is so good that I'll just say it right now, right? You'll note that the topic is not revenue as a skill, is what you'll note, right? You'll note that profit is a skill. That is incredibly intentional, right? I would rather all of you made $50, but keep 25 of it than make $100 and spend 120 trying to make and deliver it, right? So top line revenue, we've really gotten stuck as a small business industry talking about top line revenue. Who cares? It's about how much you actually keep. It's the profit that you make. You know, it's the fact that you can sustain it and grow it. So it's just to add to what you said, Bethany, it's not that revenue is a skill. It's that profit is a skill. That's what we're going to talk about today. Great. Thank you, Bethany. Great ad. All right, Chime. I think I ask you this every single time I say your name.
Chaim.
Haim. See, it every time I get it wrong. Haim, please tell us.
I think just to build on like what all the other wisdom that people shared already is that I'm realizing more and more like you are what you do. And so when you have a track to run on, you know, that is laid out according to your needs and according to your ambitions, and you know, then you have something to do every day or every week, you know, to build up your business. But I think fundamentally, you know, without going on and on, it's just really that you are what you do. So if I have, you know, my SLAP plan and I have my strategies and I have my support network and I have my goals to meet, you know, then I have to develop like the routines and the habits, and that will, you know, build up my mindset towards my ambition. If my ambition is to keep more of the $100 that comes in the door, then I need to do the things that are going to support that ambition. And I think that that's where the skill part comes in.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of the skill is like practical money stuff. And then there's, I think, a skill and a mindset, which we talk so much about silver lining, right? Around building the consistency and the alignment of all of our behaviors against that knowledge. And so I think what you just said, Haim, is really, really valuable, because if we are, I think I've said to many of you this, you've maybe heard say it, my favorite life quote, my life motto, you know, everyone has like little taglines and life mottos. Mine is pray and move your feet, right? I do believe that there's something bigger than me. I do believe that part of what I need to do is stay grounded to earth and connected to what's above and around and operate from that point of view and be intentional about that. And also, I've got to move my feet. I've got to get into action. You know, I got to take steps and be diligent and move forward and make sure that I am operating from a place of moving into action around what I think I'm here to do, my calling, my spirituality, whatever we want to use those words to be. So what you're saying, Haim, is very much that idea, right? Let's pray and let's move our feet. Let's be connected to a greater cause. Let's be connected to and be aligned. And let's get into action as we do it. And so that very, very much pray and move your feet as an opening remark. And by the way, I've researched this. If anyone can ever figure this out, please tell me. I will give you my personal email address to email me. Everywhere you search for that quote, because it's not my own, I took it from the world, adopted it, but apparently it's an African proverb, but no one can figure out the actual source of it from all the research that I've ever done. So I will credit it to an African proverb. For all of you that are calling in from Africa, I spent 4 weeks in Africa in January and February. It was my, I think, 10th time on the continent. But I love Africa so much that I can barely handle it. And so I'm very proud that my life motto is an African proverb. But if any of you know more about where that comes from, I'd love to know, because I use it all the time. I think about it all the time. I meditate on it, but I don't know the origin of it exactly. Okay, I'm going to share my screen for one very, very quick second. And Haim, your share is the perfect segue for just this opening thought. So in your guys' slap and in a lot of the stuff that we get to talk about together as a community, oh, I have to pause for 1 second. Alexis is in the room. So nice to see you, Alexis. I got to meet Alexis when I was in Kenya. So nice to see you. Hello. So does your action have a silver lining? So as we talk about a lot with SLAP, there are 4 fundamental concepts that make up SLAP. The first is that commitment is a choice. The second is that profit is a skill. The third is that mindset is a muscle. And the fourth is that success is science. And if you think about this in the most simple of senses, in order to set a goal and then modify our behavior to hit that goal, right? We're using behavior change science to build, to help us all use the SLAP infrastructure to modify behavior and to get to an outcome. It starts with commitment. So commitment is a choice. In the context of behavior change science, there is nothing that I can do to change your behavior. So I could talk to Alexis all day long, and I could convince her about why she should grow her business, and I could convince her about the goals she should have. But if Alexis doesn't commit to an outcome, if Alexis doesn't commit to what she wants for her business, there is nothing I can do. So for all of you problem solvers in the room, for all of us in the room who probably like to help other people a lot, for all of you generous souls that are walking around trying to change other people, you can stop. It doesn't work. There's no point. You cannot change somebody else. Only we as individuals can change ourselves. And so commitment is a choice, right? There's no magic solution. There's no big fancy thing. The beginning of change, the beginning of getting to an outcome. So if the change that we all want to talk about today is increasing profit, if that's the outcome we want to accomplish, there's nothing I can do today. There's nothing I can say today. There's nothing I can train you on today that's going to magically make you more profitable. But if you are committed to it, which is a choice, and if you are serious about it, right, and you're ready to align behaviors and actions against it, we can move to the next step. But commitment is a choice, and it starts with each of us. It's up to us and only us. Then profit is a skill. In the context of behavior change science, it talks about the fact that education builds knowledge. And so a lot of times when we are trying to solve something, we'll take courses, we'll go to events maybe like this, we'll read books, and we will hope that it basically does something to change our outcomes. Knowledge does not change outcomes. And so what we're going to talk about today is primarily knowledge. We're going to give you the knowledge, the skill of how to build profit. But that knowledge, quite frankly, is useless if you're not committed to using it, a choice. And then exactly as you said, Haim, then once you've got that knowledge, which we're going to leave with today, we're going to leave with a very practical plan for each of you to increase your profit. But then mindset is a muscle, right? We talk about this so much at Silver Lining, the 4 SLAP habits, right? You've got to say no more than yes. You've got to do your calendar audits. We've got to do monthly I will days. We've got to be able to identify the stage of stuck we're in and get unstuck. So once you've got that goal set, you've got the knowledge, you're committed to the outcome, well, then you need to keep your mindset strong so that you stay doing the good behaviors that allow you to practice that knowledge, right? And apply it to build your profitability in this instance. And then last, but certainly not least, success is science, right? None of us, none of you, me, none of us are built to do this alone. The science literally says that we need outside structure and support and accountability and peer communities, all of the things that SLAP is, which allow us to have the outside structure that comes around us and basically helps us stay on track. I always think of the science of support, that success is science. If any of you guys have ever been bowling, I happen to love bowling. I'm a terrible bowler, but I really enjoy it. And I'm very committed to my outcome, which is to try to get better bowling scores, even though I never do. I don't have the skill of bowling. But if you've been bowling, you know how they put those little, like those little things in the bumpers to try and help you make sure your ball does not go into the gutter. Those little guardrails, I think they're called. I always think of success as science being that really when you have things like SLAP experts and peer communities and this type of collective support and tech-enabled, data-driven recommendations of what to do inside of SLAP Center, the science that SLAP has been built on, that behavior change science, is a little bit like those guardrails when you go bowling, right? You still have to put the ball down the aisle. I don't know what that thing is called that you bowl down. This is a terrible analogy because I don't know the terminology, but you still have to do the bowling yourself. But that success as science helps you get it. It helps you get the strike. It helps you get it down to the end so that you can have the outcome that you ultimately want. So as we look at this, we're going to be spending our time today very deeply focused on the profit as a skill element of this, but it's just worth saying the context is important, that without you being committed to being more profitable, you're quite frankly wasting your time here. So if you don't have any intention of doing anything differently, if you don't have any intention of applying what you've learned, if you don't have any intention of actually doing something with the information, you're better off to log out. And I'm not saying this in a silly way. Do something else with your time. Time is precious. It's your most critical resource, right? And so to learn something for the sake of learning something is completely useless, quite frankly, when it comes to actually driving outcomes and changing things. So commitment is a choice. First question we're going to ask ourselves before we go into the skill part, and I have an exercise for this: how committed are you to your profit? Maybe you're not really committed. That's the first little crazy conversation we're going to start with. And that's going to be it's going to hurt our hearts for a minute, and then we're going to feel good. So get ready for that. Then we're going to talk about how you just practically build a more profitable business. What are the mechanisms that you can change and tweak and adjust? And as we talk about that, I'm going to encourage you guys to have your SLAP open, and we're going to look at it through the lens of your practical 1-year SLAP goal. And then we're not going to spend a lot of time on mindset as a muscle and success as science, but I am going to just remind you, right, as we leave at the end of the 2 hours together, that as we really decide if we're committed to profit first, and then as we actually build the skill of profit and we tweak our financial goals to be more profitable, right? Are you being intentional about building a mindset muscle so that you can apply what you learned today, right? And are you leveraging all that SLAP has to offer, all of this infrastructure that is science-based, to maximize your chance of success? And when all 4 of those things are in place, when you're fully committed, you have the skill, your mindset is strong, and you're fully leveraging outside structure and support, science-based structure and support, you will succeed. It's basically a given at that point. But if one of these things aren't there, things go a little off track. So if you want to succeed, it's actually very straightforward. It starts with a choice. There's a skill you've got to learn to build the right goal and build against it. Building mindset, it's like a daily yoga practice, right? You got to do it every day. You don't get to stop, right? You don't get to get the benefits once and then stop using it. It's a daily practice. It's hard. It's disciplined. It's focused. And then do you leverage that outside structure and support? When those 4 things are true, your success, I mean, this is a bold statement, but I would argue that the outcome you want to accomplish is basically guaranteed. But when one of those 4 things is not fully activated, you're lopsided. It's wobbly. And no matter how hard you work, you won't get the outcome you want. The solution is not to work harder. That's the good news. The solution is alignment of commitment, skill, mindset, science. So as you look at these 4, just a quick check-in, just quickly into chat, just because I think it's great to get a sense of how we are. I think we also sit in our own head sometimes and imagine that we're oh so unsuccessful or oh so terrible. Small business owners have a special habit of being hard on ourselves. There's a special kind of self shame and self criticism that small business owners seem to have for ourselves. Which of these do you struggle with the most as you look at these 4? Commitment is a choice, profit is a skill, mindset is a muscle, success is science. Which is the weakest right now for you, would you say? As you look at this, where's your conviction? Is it, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm committed to my outcome. I hadn't thought about that before. Or, oh, I actually don't know I don't know the skill of profit. Like I really need to learn it this morning. Or my mindset is not like a muscle. I am not building it every day. I am not being conscious about it. Or, oh, I'm not actually doing a great job of making sure that I'm activating the support, the structure that I know could add up to success. Tell me about which one you are. I'm just going to go into chat. Commitment, very honest. Thank you, Shamil. Profit is a skill, profit. Mindset is a muscle. Thank you, Geneva. Profit is a skill. We got lots of profit as a skill. We're in the right room. Good. Commitment. But when Tammy, I'm not going to pick on you, but I might use that statement in a minute. So get ready. Profit, commitment, profit, all of the above. Thank you, Sabine. Very honest, very real. Mindset, profit, and success. Okay. Commitment is a choice. Activating the structure and community. Probably Lisa saying we're probably feeling very alone in our business. Yeah. I think that the 99% of the time small business owners feel alone. That's why these are so important. That's why I love meets so much, because we're going to get in a room and we're going to say all the things that we're probably saying in our head, say it out loud, and then realize, oh, wait, everyone around the world feels exactly the same way that I do. And then we're going to be able to deal with it together. That's part of success as science, that shared language, that shared experience. Okay. So then let's get into it. So these are the 3 questions that I want to ask you guys. Columbo, if you can get ready to put 4 minutes on the clock, we're going to take 4 minutes of thoughtful time, quiet time. My recommendation is to have a pen and a piece of paper. We learn a lot. We have different neural pathways that get activated when we write. And so it's often very helpful to write as you're doing free thinking. So I encourage you to write if that's available to you. If you must type, go ahead and please type. If you're not a writer or a typer and you just want to think, do your thing. But my general recommendation would be to sort of free association type. There's no right or wrong answer to these questions. Okay. So there's no pass fail. There's no way to do this right or wrong. It's a personal exploration around your commitment, because I want us to start committed to profit, or at least aware of where we are in our commitment, and then go into the skill building. So the 3 questions I want us to think about, to just ponder, to just sit and let some free association happen in the world. Number 1, and I'll type it into chat as I say it so that if you want to see the questions again, you can. But number 1, how much profit do you plan to make this year? Okay. The reason that that question is important, and I'll just give you guys context, is first of all, do you even know the number? Just see what happens when I ask the question, right? Do you have the number? Can you write it down? Is it unclear in your brain? Are you trying to figure it out? Right? So just see what happens when you write that question down, and all of the things that come up with that question. It seems to be a very easy question, but it's actually could bring up a lot. Number 2, what are you willing to sacrifice to get that number, to get that profit? Okay. Have you actually considered not just what it brings you, but what you might have to sacrifice to accomplish it? And what's on the list of what you're willing to sacrifice to actually accomplish that outcome? And then number 3, what do you think is in your way of achieving that profit? And are you willing to deal with it? So there's nothing fancy about commitment, but commitment is deeply rooted in reality. You cannot be committed to something you don't fully understand, right? You can't. I always think of the analogy of women that are just so desperate to get married. And I always say to them, why do you want to be married so much? Why are you so desperate to get married, to some of my female friends? And they have these very fairyland ideas about what marriage would look like. Well, I'm going to have all this romance and I'm going to have a partner and it's going to be amazing. And then I will say, yeah, that's true. And also, you're going to have to negotiate a lot. You're going to have fight about things. You're going to have different lifestyle choices. You're going to want to do different things. Like, do you want all of it? Because if you go in with a false idea of an outcome, you're not really committed to it. You're committed to a dream. You have hopes and ideas and dreams and wishes, but commitment is based in reality. So reality asks questions like, well, how much profit do you want to make? Or what are you willing to sacrifice to get that profit you say you want? And what do you think is realistically going to be in your way of achieving that profit? And are you willing to do the hard work of dealing with those obstacles, with those things that might be hard? Those are commitment questions, right? Hopes, wishes, dreams, prayers are lovely, very exciting, very fun. Commitment is reality-based. So I'm going to take these 3 questions. I'm going to post them again just so they're right there at the bottom. I don't know, maybe Columbo is very good at technology and I am not. So Columbo might have a clever way of figuring out how to pin those somehow so that you guys can keep seeing them in chat if you need them. But Columbo, let's put 4 minutes on the clock. I'm gonna do it too. I always do the exercises with you guys. So I'm just gonna go on mute and let's take 4 minutes and we'll come back.
Yes. You need me to help you? I can tie something for you real quick. Go ahead, tie your hair or something.
Okay. So in those 4 minutes, what came up? So maybe if there's a couple of people that haven't spoken yet today, if you're willing to put your hand up, did anything come up for you in those 4 minutes? What was sort of surfaced in asking yourself those questions? We'll have Rachel, and then if there's another brave soul, I'll take one more. Ooh, I've got 3. Okay, we'll do 3. We'll do Rachel, and then Aisha, and then Eileen. Rachel, please go ahead.
Okay, so I love talking about profit, but so I'm so glad I'm here. I was just thinking about how kind of the decisions between making investments in the company and how that can affect profit. So kind of thinking about where I want to be profitability wise, but also thinking about whether I want to make decisions that will help my company grow in the long term, which sometimes can hit profit in the short term or drop profit in the short term. So I'm in the position right now of making some, key hires. And when we make these key hires, sometimes that profitability dips a bit, but being like, I get into like no, I don't want to spend money, but sometimes that actually can really actually hold me back, I think. So that's what came up for me about this discussion of profit is really how to, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to be, 10 to 15% profitability. But at some point, when do I decide to make these kind of key hires or make sure that I'm investing that's really going to help my company grow, even if it kind of hits my profit, impacts it negatively in the short term. So that's what came up for me.
No, so good. Thank you for bringing that up because it's impossible to talk about the skill of profit without talking about spending money wisely, right? Because we have to invest in growth and taking on debt sometimes wisely. But sometimes we think about debt as crisis management, which is not helpful debt. That is bad debt. But good debt, when you're actually profitable, is that's the power move. So we're gonna talk about both of those things today, and really thinking about how to leverage cash as well. So thank you, Rachel. Very, very, very good. All right, Aisha.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So for me, piggybacking off of what Rachel said, I have a high school intern that's going to be working with me during the summer. And then I've just hired another college intern that's going to be working with me. So in my mind, I'm looking at, okay, I got to get the money to pay them. But then I'm looking at the outcome that will come in with the additional help. So I'm not doing it all myself, so I can focus on building the business. So with that, I'm in my mind, I'm like, okay, I can make 15 to 20% profit off of the new projects that are coming in, and we can turn the projects over faster because I can't be everywhere. I can't be in the field and working on the drawings and dealing with the clients. So in my mind, that's where I'm looking at where the profit. So I started working on my numbers. Okay, where do I need to be every week? What projects that I need to turn over? How do I keep the current flow of cash coming in so that one, I can cover payroll and then still be able to make money in the end. And then just also looking at my expenses, what can I cut out that I don't necessarily need? Like I said, for me, I'm always attracted to the pretty bells and whistles. So, oh, let me try this, let me try that. So that's something that I mentally have to work on. And then I've been sacrificing time already, so I don't have any more time to sacrifice, but I am getting a little tired. So I do have to take at least 2 days off to just not do anything so I can be recharged. But this session here is really invigorating me again. So thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Yes, I'm seeing what you said, Aisha. Well, I'm hearing what you said, and I'm seeing in chat the conversation around cutting expenses. We are definitely going to be talking about cutting expenses today, which seems in conflict with what Rachel and I just said about investing well. And it's not in conflict. It's perfectly aligned because there are the right things to invest in, and then there are the right things to cut expenses on. And so we're gonna play with a very practical activity today for you guys to evaluate. Maybe there's places that you do need to be strategically making some investment. And then maybe there's some things you can literally walk out of this meeting and go cut. And we're going to try and find the willpower in this room and the clarity to go make some of those cuts. And people, by the way, just noting, people, no matter whether you're a product or a service business, oftentimes people really are our biggest expense. And our biggest opportunity, right? And so I say this with lots of my team members in this room who I love so dearly. It is really hard to figure out the team part of a business. It is really expensive. And it is absolutely the right place to invest, and also often the most important place to make cuts quickly. So we're going to just talk about investing versus expense cost cutting, and we'll just acknowledge in the room that people will be a big part of that conversation, because it's often one of the biggest pain points in a small business. Okay, Eileen, and then Yemi, and then we'll get to work. We got work to do, but this is great.
Let's see, unmute. Yeah, hi there. My sister and I are here. We have the business together, and we're the exact same as the other two. The fear, we know we need to invest in order to, get better profits. We've been doing very well the last couple of years, thanks to Victor. He's our good luck charm. And
Victor.
but we have, he's the best.
Yes.
We realize we have to invest money in order to build profit, but like that you have to spend it, and what if we spend it badly and end up with less profit?
Yes. There's I say this with love in my heart. I think it's actually a good news thing. Small businesses spend so much money on bad things. That's very hopeful though, because if we can spend less money on bad things, that means you're going to have more profit. Yes, me too, all of us. So we're going to just joyfully celebrate and embrace the fact that we've all spent a lot of money on bad things, and we're going to get better at spending money on the right things today. So it's like it almost feels like a rite of passage to lose thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on a website. I feel like that's the number one small business move. Spend tens of thousands of dollars on a website that you don't need, that doesn't work. That's what every small business I've ever known does. And it's always the wrong choice. Okay, Yemi, you get the last word, and then we're going to get into some activities, into some work.
Greetings. Hi, thank you. So I am in a place within my business where I am just picking it back up off the ground from, when all the pandemic things happened. And I think I got lazy, and I realized how many things I do not know about running my business, like the proper way. We all can do things and sell lemonade on a corner, but how are we actively moving in the space? And so being in these calls and learning these things, I find myself I don't know what to do. So my answer is I have no clue, because I don't know what that looks like. and then I said, well, let me write down a number just because, to move towards. Yeah. And so I said $5,000 for the year.
Right.
And then to ask about what am I willing to sacrifice? I said, well, if I don't know what I need, how do I know what I need to sacrifice? And I started to take a look at my life. I remember your thing about the calendar.
Yep. Calendar audit, time budget.
Yeah, thank you, that. And I said, okay, well, I budget my time fairly okay, could use some work there. And I started looking at, well, what am I spending most of my time on? And it was parenting. And I'm like, do I sacrifice the child?
Probably. It's probably time to sacrifice your children, everyone. That's going to be that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm just joking.
Oh my goodness. So that's kind of where I am. And my ultimate answer was, I honestly have no idea what to do, how to do it, or how to deal with it.
I'm so glad that we let you be the last word. That is real. That is real. So thank you. Thank you for saying all of that. One of the reasons the meets are so fun for me is because I think all of us think these things in our head and then think that we're the crazy people that don't have it figured out. And then we get to hear everyone else talk and be like, oh, okay, great. I have all the same problems as all my slap friends. And so we'll figure it out. And so it is what you said is important for actually a couple of reasons, Yemi, and in addition to it just being fun and us contemplating how much you have to sacrifice your children in order to be profitable, which you don't really have to do. I'm just joking. But what I think is really important about what you just said is it's impossible to be committed to something that isn't clear, right? And it's impossible to have clarity without getting all of these different factors into alignment. It is true that we've got to figure out how much time taking care of your kids takes, right? And it is true that we then have to figure out how much time is left over to build your business. And then it is true that we have to get realistic about how much growth you can create in your business based on how much time and money you have to invest in that growth. And then it is true that we have to figure out if that's enough money to sustain your life. And then it is true if we can figure out how to make it profitable. And then it is true that you can be committed to that truth, right? But if we don't have alignment across all of these elements of life, then it's impossible to be committed because we're just sort of not really knowing what we're being committed to, and you can't be committed to ambiguity. So it is the answering of all of these questions. And this is why I always say, right, like be wary of people with hopes, wishes, prayers, and dreams who think they've got it all figured out. Because it's actually, there's a lot of nuance to figuring some of this stuff out. There's a lot of nuance to aligning our lives to such a point that we have enough clarity that we can actually be fully realistic and then fully committed. So one of the number one reasons that small businesses don't succeed is that they set unrealistic goals. The number one thing I see in our Slapsters, and I've been doing this for 19 years and it never changes in good economies and bad economies and good days and bad days on all the things, is just setting a goal that doesn't make any sense. Well, then of course you're not going to hit it. And then you're going to go into shame spirals and feel bad about yourself and think it's impossible to grow your business and on and on and on and on we go. But you were never being realistic to start with. And so of course you didn't hit the goal. So a lot of why I'm starting with this conversation is that profit being a skill is deeply, deeply rooted in reality, in being able to just tell the cold hard truth, look at all the truths and all the realities, and then make good choices with that context. But you cannot apply the skill of profit without being deeply rooted in truth and reality. And one of the things that makes being a business owner so fun and exciting, and one of the things that you have to hold on to possibly succeed because it's so hard, is just being audacious, going for things that seem unrealistic. And so we cannot tamper down that vision in all of you and that audacity in all of you and that excitement and that being willing to do the impossible, because if we get rid of that, well, then we're really in trouble. But it's the holding of the unrealistic audacity and pure cold hard truth reality when it comes to time and money. And it's the combination of those two things together that will allow us to succeed. So the goal about being realistic is not to dampen our dreams. It's to create a realistic path to accomplishing them, right? So the mission is dream big, right? Be audacious. Believe you can do something that is impossible, because you can. But the path to accomplishing it is deeply rooted and steeped in reality, current reality, so that we can figure out where we're at and how to get to that audacious outcome that you want for yourself. Because I believe you can have it. In fact, I know you can. I've seen it over and over again. We've got data coming out of our ears to prove you can have the outcome you want. But the path to the outcome starts with current reality and a plan that is very steeped in reality to get to that big, audacious dream. Does that make sense? Does that resonate with you guys? Dream big, start in reality. The two together over and over and over again. That's what we want to live in. Okay, so these are great starting points. So what I want to do, first of all, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go into teaching mode for let's call it 10 minutes, if that's okay with you guys. I'm going to walk you through the profit as a skill concepts. Then we're going to take a break. So I'm just going to talk for 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to play with it and apply it. So I'm going to talk. Forgive me. I will try to be quick and brief. The good news, though, is that I think I only need to talk for 10 minutes, which means that you can learn you can learn the skill of profit in 10 minutes. That's the good news. That's what I want you to take away right now. And then we're going to take a break, process what we've learned, and then come back and figure out how the heck to apply it to every single one of our businesses. Thank you, Chris and Nicole, for saying that you don't mind me talking. That's very kind of you. Other people would disagree, primarily my long-term partner. He would like me to talk less, but for right now, I'm going to talk. Okay, let me share my screen again. I wanted to show you guys 3 slides, and then we're actually going to go into Slap Center. Imagine that. We're going to go hang out in Slap Center together for a minute. This is something that I love. We're really playing with there's a new big update coming to Slap Center soon, so stay tuned. Watch your inbox for updates. It will be all the things you know and love about Slap Center, just a little bit better. Nothing is changing on the things that you count on. But we're increasingly, as you know already, we talk constantly at Silver Lining about the alignment of your time, your money, and your impact. That those 3 things are not opposed forces. They need to be in alignment. You guys have probably heard me say many times, I do not believe that balance is possible. If you're living a passionate life where you're living your purpose, forget balance. What a boring idea. Who wants work-life balance? Who wants balance in general? But we want to live a full life, full of activities and family and kids and business, but it's got to be aligned so that all the things we're doing and all the energy and the passion and the effort we're exerting aligns into one big, great life. And I believe that as a small business owner, our business is at the root of that alignment, actually. If it's not, then it becomes a really, really complicated, difficult thing in our life. But in an ideal world, what would happen is that you would use your SLAP to optimize how you spend your time, right? Your time budget, really being very diligent about how much time you spend with your family on growing your business, on managing, on personal development in your community, right? All the things that we flesh out in time budget, and having a time budget and learning how to maximize those 168 hours in a week. That leads to high performance, right? We become higher performing individuals, which is very enjoyable. It feels very good to be a high performer. It's enjoyable. It's very energy giving. And then as we grow our money, which is what we're here to talk about today, we become more profitable and sustainable, right? We don't just drive top line revenue growth for the sake of it, but we build profitable, sustainable financial growth. That is the ultimate goal with money. It's profitable, sustainable growth. And then impact, right, is our ability to contribute, right? And you, as you guys know in SLAP, you choose the type of contribution you want to have. Contribute to your family, to your community, to the environment, to equality, to job creation, right? And so you create that contribution that you want to make. And our theory is that as your performance and your profitable, sustainable growth increase, your freedom grows, right? And I know that one of the #1 words we hear in our community globally is freedom. We want freedom, right? We're happy to work a lot, but we want freedom. And then as your profitable, sustainable growth and your contribution grows, your influence grows. You have influence. And if I think about what I think captures, right, the goals and the desires of almost every business owner I know around the world, it's actually freedom and influence, right? The idea that we can build our life on our own terms and that we'll have enough influence to accomplish the life that we want for those and people we care about. And I really believe that in the world of a small business owner and in this global community, that the way that we do create more freedom and influence is by helping us all become higher performers, build profitable, sustainable growth, and increase our contribution, and center all that through our small business. So that's the big idea here, right? And that's why profit is a skill. This is not like whim wham, hopefully it all works out. Let's set a big goal and go for it. This is intentional design. It is the design of a life, the design of a small business that allows us to be our fullest and best selves. Now, when we talk about profit as a skill, first I want to start there, right? Why does it matter to be profitable, right? It's about your freedom and it's about your influence. It's about designing your life. Then let's talk about the practicalities of money. Why does profit matter? Why profitable, sustainable growth? Why not just set big goals, get some loans and go for it and hope it all works out? This is what we're calling the small business capital stack. I have become very, very passionate about this chart over the last year or so. And a couple of you guys referenced COVID. I think we're still very much in what I'm going to call the immediate post-COVID era, where the way the economy is moving is different. We're all trying to figure things out. Business models have had to change. There's a lot of grief in the system and trauma in the system that we have not processed. We are deep in it. And I think one of the other things that happened during COVID, and this is something I really want us to think about. So if you're going to hear me say a couple of things only today, really hear this. We have seen what I'm going to call an alarming trend. I'm using the word alarming on purpose to get all of your attention. That so many small businesses globally have become incredibly reliant on grants and debt. And that is because we learned the habit of going and getting, right, grants and debt during COVID, a lot of which got forgiven, some of which did not, which is why there's a couple of us, around this room that are in a lot of financial trouble, because we thought that the way to get through COVID was to take as much of that money that was flowing as possible. And then we kind of became reliant on it. And then I think we forgot to generate sales. If I could write a headline about what happened to small businesses during COVID, is that I think small businesses forgot to focus on sales. And so I'm seeing a lot of small businesses struggling with revenue and profit right now. And I think it is true that the economy is kind of funky right now, but that's not the reason to let ourselves off the hook, because there is lots of opportunity in good and bad economy. And we're all nimble and small enough that we can take advantage of that opportunity. I really think it is that we built this habit during COVID of thinking that debt and grants would sort of get us through, and we forgot that sales was always the answer. So what I'm here to pitch you on as we think about profit as a skill is that when you need capital for your business, when your cash flow is tight, when you're worried about money, when you got to pay the rent, when you don't have as much money as you think you want or need, the first answer is always, and I mean always, I don't care what your business case is, I could go around this room and I could talk to every single one of you about your business. The first answer is always profitable, sustainable revenue. What sale can you go make? What series of sales can you go make? And so before we talk about any other types of capital to bring into your business, to aid your profitability, to grow, to invest, to do all those things, we need to make sure that we have the right strategy, structure, and support to build a profitable and sustainable business, right? Only then should you be thinking about other capital. So that is, right, and that's of course what SLAP is all about. That's what this session's all about. But that is all, if you're a small business owner, I would want you to be spending 99% of your time thinking about profitable, sustainable revenue. Oh crap, my cash flow's tight. Great, make a sale. Oh, I really want to make an investment in my business. I need $10,000. Great, go make $10,000 in sales. Oh no, I've got a cash flow crisis. I'm in crisis. Okay, go make some sales. The answer is always go make some sales. That is always the first answer. It's always the right answer. It's always the right thing to do. And a good small business owner is thinking about making sales 99% of the time. That is your job as the CEO of your small business. So any problem you guys can bring me. In fact, we could do like a fun challenge one day. One day we'll do a 1-hour meeting and you guys will come into our room and you'll tell me every single one of your business issues and I will respond and say, go make some sales. And we'll just do it over and over and over again for 1 hour to really get the point across. Tell me your problems. I will tell you, go make some sales. That will help you solve the problem. Okay. So then if you are profitable and sustainable, and if you are making sales, and if you are focused on building your capital stack by focusing on profitable, sustainable revenue, 99% of the time, first and foremost, always, sometimes you need to access debt. Only if needed, okay? We have this instinct as business owners that if we just got a loan, everything would be better. So all the time and money you're going to spend filling out paperwork, going to all these banks, trying to find a loan, why wouldn't you just make a sale? It's the same amount of work. This is the thing that's so crazy to me. It's usually easier to make sales than it is to like go fight with banks to get a loan. Just go make a sale and then the money's yours and you don't have to pay it back. You just get to keep it. It's your money. Make a sale. So sometimes every once in a while, and I'm talking about every once in a while, right? Let's note I own a debt company and I'm telling you, don't take my slap loans. Go make a sale. It's better, right? Only if needed debt is if you have an incredibly clear strategy for being profitable and sustainable, and you can get access to debt that is helpful with a reasonable interest rate, and it's an amount that you can afford to carry. In only that combination of instances is debt going to help you. Okay. You have a plan to be profitable and sustainable. You're 100% clear on how your business will succeed. And it already is on its way, right? You are doing sales. You are revenue generating, right? It's a fair debt. It is a reasonable interest rate and it's an amount that you can afford to carry, right? You can afford the monthly payments. You can sustain it inside of your existing business. That and only that are the conditions in which taking on debt make any sense. If you think that getting a loan is going to solve all your problems because you're in a cash flow crisis, you are wrong. It will make it worse. It delays and amplifies the problem. Usually the way debt is used delays and amplifies the root issue. So debt is a fabulous vehicle if you're profitable and sustainable, or if there is a clear path to profitability and sustainability, right? What I see happen so many times, and this is the opposite of profit as a skill, is a small business owner is feeling crisis in some way, goes and gets a loan, usually at a shockingly high interest rate, because that's all we can get because banks don't like giving loans to small businesses. And now not only do we have a cash flow crisis and an unclear plan to profitability and sustainability, we're carrying debt that needs monthly payments at an interest rate that's accruing at very dramatic rates, and things are getting worse and worse. I have seen so many small businesses get to the brink of bankruptcy by taking on debt, thinking it would solve their cash flow problems. Sales solve cash flow problems. Debt should be deployed to grow profitable, sustainable revenue. Okay? Debt is not a cash flow solution. It is not the right use and to use debt. It makes the problem bigger, and maybe buys you a couple months of relief, but not more than that, because then the debt collaterals are coming too. So debt is very, very, very effective, but only in these conditions. Okay. And then investment. If I had $1 for every small business owner that told me they were going to raise capital, I'd be a billionaire. Guys, don't raise capital. That's not the right answer. For 99.9% of small businesses, equity investment is not the right financial vehicle. Sales are. Sales is the right financial vehicle for a small business. And I'll say it a million more times today. Profitable, sustainable revenue is the right financial vehicle to generate capital for your small business. Investment, there has been this massive obsession with venture capital in the last 20 years, sort of in the era of Mark Zuckerberg and sort of that spike in looking at tech entrepreneurship. Venture capital, just for context, is a very specific financial product. Don't think of venture capital as like entrepreneurship. Venture capital is a financial instrument where large companies with a lot of money invest a significant amount of capital in exchange for equity in a business and a fast exit, right? They're always looking for, the rule in VC is, you need 20 times return in 5 to 7 years. So think about what would happen, right? If a venture capitalist came into your small business. First of all, they wouldn't. And so most small businesses waste an exorbitant amount of time going out and trying to pitch for venture capital or pitch for equity investment, when most small businesses are not they're not the type of business that people would invest in. So it usually becomes a waste of time and energy, but more importantly, it adds a pressure point to you and your business. So the only time that equity investment would make sense for you would be if you are prepared to have someone come in and basically take control of your business. You would become an employee for all intents and purposes to your investor. You are willing to basically do whatever is required, whether it aligns with your values and your mission or not, to grow at a fast pace. and you would like to sell your business, right? Because no one comes in to invest without looking for an exit. So 99.99999999999% of the time, it does not make sense for small business owners to try to raise equity investment. It is not the play. It is a very specific financial vehicle used for a very specific use case in business, but it's become pop culture-y. So all of us think we should be raising millions of dollars. That's not the case. What I want you to do is generate profitable, sustainable revenue. Okay. Now there is every once in a while, there could be a case for small investments, maybe friends and family, maybe someone gives you a little bit of cash for 10% of the company. You give them dividends once a year. You know, there's a case for what I would call the most friendliest of investments, right? And that's why I say, but done very, very, very differently. And then grants, which we've become oh so worrisome reliant on, really should be used in reward and in crisis. So when there was money flowing, right, from federal governments all around the world during COVID, recognizing that if we didn't get cash into small businesses' hands as the world was shutting down, we'd be in real trouble. That was a good use of grant capital, right? That was a good use of saying we got to get capital into the market so these small businesses don't basically all shut down and stall the economy, right? If one of you have won a prize and you get a grant, that's a good use of a grant, right? Like prize money, reward. That is the use case for grants. But the idea that we would live on grants or continue to be in sort of a immediately post-COVID era and keep going back to thinking that if I could just get a grant, then everything will be okay. No. All the energy that you are spending applying for a grant and or thinking that you're going to pitch for equity investment and or thinking you're going to go get a loan that's going to solve all your problems, we need to redeploy it to profitable, sustainable revenue. Always, 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 always. Okay. So this is one of the primary points I want you guys to hear. Profitable, sustainable revenue is the way to capitalize your business. Fair debt only if needed and only if you already have a clear strategy for profitability, if it is a reasonable interest rate, and if the loan is a small enough amount that you can afford to carry it. Investment in like 0.00001% of use cases, and only if done completely differently, probably from friends and family, definitely not from a venture capitalist. And grants, we got to wean ourselves off. We're not in crisis anymore. I hope you get some rewards. I hope you win some prizes. That'd be fun, but that's not a viable business strategy. That's a moment in time, right? And so the answer to your business challenges, the answer to your profitability is profitable, sustainable revenue. Always, 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 always. So how do we build profitable, sustainable revenue? It's your SLAP, right? You identify your ideal client. You create your SLAP statement to define what you do, who you do it for, and the skill and the scale you do it on. You set that SLAP goal, right? You set a goal, which is your sales targets that are profitable and sustainable, that ensure you can cover your break-even number and reach your profit goal. And then you build the action plan, right? You use the different connecting campaigns in your SLAP to go connect with your ideal client over and over and over and over and over and over again in order to hit that 1 year SLAP goal, that 1 year sales goal. That's it. This is the skill of profit. And I'm going to walk you guys through really quickly the tips and the tricks, right? If you're in this room, you have a SLAP, so I don't have to teach you the methodology, but what I want to do is give you the deeper dive into what to think about in these 4 categories of your SLAP to really focus on profitability. And what I want us to do is think about how, as I'm saying these things to you, right? Think about how you can apply this to your own SLAP immediately, right? What can you do to update your current SLAP to make it better, to tweak it so that you get more profitable, right? Profitability typically comes in small tweaks, not big wins, right? We always say a silver lining. There is no silver bullet, but there is a silver lining. It's my favorite little funny phrase. So your ideal client. Profitable businesses have incredibly specific ideal clients. And I say this over and over again, and no one ever believes me, and I always fight. And this is the one thing I always win. So I'm asking you to believe me if you're open to it. You do not need a target market. If you sell to more people, you will not make more money. The businesses that succeed have an incredibly specific ideal client, and you stick to it, right? It allows you to be focused and diligent. Profitability comes with focus. It does not come by doing more. And so this is the grand irony, right? We think that we're going to make more money by doing more things. Actually, profitability is an exercise in precision. Profitability and precision, like you put those two words side by side, they go hand in hand. Profitability is a precise activity. And so precision is the name of the game. Focus and discipline is the name of the game if we're thinking about profitability. So if you think, oh, well, my product and service works for everyone, so I'll just sell it to everyone. Maybe, but that's not the point of SLAP. The point of SLAP is to choose who your ideal client is, to look at patterns in all of your customers' behavior, find the people that fit that ideal client profile, and then be audacious enough to be focused and disciplined on building a niche, right? I use the example of silver lining all the time. I could sell slaps to lots of people. I could sell slaps to startups. I could sell slaps to big businesses. I could build an enterprise version of it and sell it to sales teams. It has a lot of applications. I don't do any of those things. I could, but I don't. I am precise. I am built for small businesses. I am built for you guys, and I will never change that because I love you and you're my calling and I'm here and I'm never giving up. And after 19 years, I know you so well that I know how to help. But if I was trying to sell SLAP to everybody, SLAP would not be as good and I would not be as passionate and our team would not be able to be as precise. So when you have a clear ideal client, it allows you to actually make better financial investments. It allows you to cut a lot of expenses. It allows you to spend more time and more money on sales and marketing because it is precise. It is one ideal client that you get to connect with over and over and over again, which allows you to actually get better at what you do. You build a stronger brand reputation. Referrals come more easily. You have to spend less money on marketing. You become more profitable when you have a very clear ideal client. I can see Ellen in the room. Ellen is an incredible interior designer. Could she be an interior designer for everybody? Sure, she could. But if she chooses a specific ideal client, which she has, she gets media recognition for that. She gets better referrals because of it. She can be more precise in the way that she markets herself, that she talks about herself, the skills she develops, the type of interior design. Even think about Ellen's time having to spend on like sourcing furniture or design materials. If she's got a very consistent ideal client, she could spend less time sourcing the types of things that that ideal client would like, as opposed to trying to source every possible thing on the entire planet for everyone that may ever hire her. By being precise about your ideal client, you save an exorbitant amount of hidden time and money and energy that you don't even think you're spending trying to be too many things to too many people. So if you want to have the skill of profit, you must also have a very specific ideal client, right? So I want you to go back into your SLAP as we start to consider this and go look at your ideal client profile. Is it specific enough? Is it something that forces you into quick clarity? Does it give you a framework of a very specific individual person in your brain, an avatar that you can design your choices against? Because if your ideal client is broad because you don't believe me or you weren't willing to be disciplined enough to make a very specific choice in your ideal client, it's not serving you. You do not have enough time and money for target markets. You want a precise ideal client so that you can spend the time and the money and the resources you have on only connecting with and delivering to that ideal client. So ideal client is the first critical foundational step to growing profit. It allows you to do less and make more, which is one of the basic premises of profitability, right? How do we do less to make more? First step is that ideal client. So the first thing I'm going to have you do when we come back from the break is go back and look at your ideal client, right? And if you're in your SLAP right now, please look at it. I wouldn't be offended at all. Go look right in this very moment, right? What's that ideal client profile? Again, your ideal client profile should be so specific that you can put a name on it, right? There's an avatar in your brain. There's a fake human, an invisible best friend that is your ideal client. And when you're making business choices, you're vetting them against that person, not you, right? Your invisible ideal client, your invisible friend is the filter for all of your strategic choices. Then your SLAP statement, right? We talk about this a lot at Silver Lining. If you are a small business, your instinct is to think that if you need to make more money, if you're worried about your profitability, if you do more things for more people, you will make more money. False. Every time you try to do too many things for too many people, you are decreasing your chance of success in all of them, right? So the premise of SLAP is that time and money are our two most critical resources. And the way to be more profitable is to deploy the time and money that we already have in a more strategic way. The instinct we have as business owners, probably even as humans, but certainly as business owners, is that if we feel like we don't have enough time and money, our instinct, it's like it's carnal, it's inside of us. We can't help ourselves. And so it takes a lot of self-control to not do this. But when we're worried about money, our instinct is to launch new products and services and to think about marketing to new customers, right? Our instinct is to add who's and what's. But if every who and what that you sell and deliver to requires time and money, what you're doing is you're taking the two most critical resources you have, your time and your money, and you're splitting them and you're dividing them between multiple who's and multiple what's. That is not increasing your chance of success. It's decreasing your chance of success across the board. So if you think that by launching new product lines and having new customers that you're going after doubles your chance of success, the math works the opposite way. It is cutting your chance of success in half because you're taking that precious time and money and you're diluting it between multiple who's and what's. So the instinct when we're struggling with cash flow and profit is to add more what's and more who's. The solution is to double down and get more focused and more niche. Okay, so we think if we do more, we'll make more. Not true. We need to do less well. Precision will always, always, always win with profitability. Always. So if you have in your SLAP, I sell this and this to this person and this person, right? If your SLAP has a SLAP statement that says you do this for this person, right? Like my SLAP statement is Silver Lining sells SLAPs to James on a global scale. But it, like secretly, I was like selling SLAPs and this thing to like James and Joe and Sally, and I just didn't put it into my SLAP so no one got mad at me, right? I'd be in trouble. I wouldn't have enough time and money to pull it off. I'd be pulled in a million directions. I'd be unprofitable. I'd be all over the place. It wouldn't work. So if you are not telling the truth, if you're not living in reality, if you have a SLAP statement, but you're not really using it because you're really doing a bunch of what's to a bunch of who's and a bunch of scales, you need to go back and get into alignment. You need to go back and do the work. Commitment is a choice. You could do lots of what's. You could do lots of who's, but commitment is a choice. What is the one what that you are called to do? Who is the one who? Who is that ideal client that you want to serve? And go all in, all in, all in, all in. Profit is precise. It is focused and it is disciplined. It is not doing everything. It is doing something well over and over and over again so that you've got the luxury of optimization. If you're spread in a million directions, you cannot optimize. But if you are focused, you can tweak and optimize, and you find your profit in the tweaking and the optimization, not in the just do a bunch of stuff and hope something works. Okay. Then the SLAP goal. We're going to go into SLAP Center in a second, and I'm going to remind us how to set a SLAP goal. The software quite literally tells you exactly what to do to set a profitable goal. And it is amazing to me, and I say this with like love and a little bit of tough love and a little bit of a joke, but also the truth. It is amazing to me how many SLAPsters ignore the directions of SLAP and set bad SLAP goals. Basically, watch the video and then do whatever the heck we want. And there is so many goals being set inside a SLAP that are unrealistic, not based in reality, and set up for failure. And I don't know why, because we tell us exactly what to do. So I'm going to zoom you guys through the 1-year goal section of SLAP Center in a second. And we're just going to remind ourselves of what a good SLAP goal is. There's no mystery to it. It's literally in SLAP Center. I mean, all of this is, but we're just going to remind ourselves of how to set that financial goal. And then connecting campaigns. When you have all built your SLAPs, you're all, have been executing them. One of the biggest mistakes that I see that take away from profitability is how you guys structure your action plans. And I know that the SLAP experts are the magical humans that help you think about this differently. And so all I'm going to say is if you're on a SLAP expert mindset call and a SLAP expert says to you, I think we really need to look at your goal, or I really think we need to look at your action plan. Listen to them. It's because they're trying to help you get more precise. They're trying to help you get to profitability, because the instinct of every small business on the planet is to go into your connecting campaigns. And the ones that you add the most, just so you know, are like launch Instagram, build a new website, design a new logo, launch a podcast. All those things are lovely. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do them, but the things that very few people add are do a hit list, do a referral campaign, host an event for your ideal client, do a loyalty campaign for your existing customers to get more money from them. As business owners, our instinct is to do the things that are branding related, not sales related. If you want to be profitable, you're going to have to make some sales, my friends. You're going to have to make some phone calls. You're going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to find your ideal clients. You're then going to have to, follow up and convert to sales. You're going to have to do sales. And so the instinct of a business owner is to live in brand. But your instinct needs to be hijacked by you with all of our support so that your instinct is revenue. Profitable, sustainable revenue. And so every single time you look at the connecting campaigns that you're adding to your SLAP, I want you to ask yourself, how much of this has a direct relationship to sales? If I do this action, can I directly get to sales, right? Marketing is an indirect path to sales, but lots of the connecting campaigns in there, loyalty, events, partnerships, hit list, referrals, those are direct paths to sales. And so we are often recommending to you guys, get those things into your action plan, add those campaigns to your SLAP, do a hit list, do a referral quarter, get to it, get the money. So your instinct, just pay attention. Your instinct is going to be to do brand work. I want you to very consciously hijack yourself. And your override on that instinct has got to be to do sales work, revenue work. It's got to happen. That's your only hope. That is how you build profitability, sales, revenue. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to go to one other thing and I'm going to zoom us through. Oh gosh, look at how much time I took. It definitely has not been 10 minutes. This is classic Carissa Reiniger. I say 10 minutes and then I talk for 40. Welcome to my boyfriend. This is what he says. Okay, I'm going to zoom through and then we're going to talk. Let me remind you of the things that SLAP already tells you, but let's just remind ourselves really quickly about how to set a profitable financial goal. Profitable financial goals. Profit is a skill. Look at this goal. By December 31st, profit is time bound. There's a deadline for it, right? Revenue and profit are two different numbers, but they go hand in hand. I will generate $1 million with $250,000 in profit. Woo, what a good year that would be. Hopes, prayers, wishes, and dreams for all of us. $1 million in revenue, $250,000 in profit. Amen. From our lips to God's ears. And how am I going to do that? By December 31st, time bound. Clear revenue, clear profit goal. Those are two different numbers. I will sell 65 units of this thing at $3,600, and I will sell 4 units of this thing at $5,000. Exact sales targets with the pricing designed. That's a SLAP goal. That is a viable financial goal, right? How do we get to that? So I'm just going to say it again. It's time bound. There is a deadline. There is a revenue and a profit target that live side by side because we understand what our profit margins are and we have both of those numbers and we can look at both at the same time. And then it breaks into actual sales targets, right? 65 units of this, 4 units of this, and the pricing is already clear, right? And we have set up the profitable pricing so we know if we make those sales, we're not losing money on it, like we spoke about earlier in the day, right? Oh my gosh, I realized when I was selling this thing, I was actually losing money because I had these expenses I hadn't thought of, right? So every single one of those sales must be profitable. Every single sale is profitable. How do we get to that type of a goal? Starts with your personal expenses, right? You must tell the truth about how much money it costs to live your life. So you do absolutely zero good to yourself if you have this number wrong. I love building in a big budget for unexpected costs because life is more expensive than we think. So the first thing I want you to do in your SLAP is go back and look. Does your total annual personal expenses in your SLAP, is it realistic? And if it's not, bump it up. Tell the truth. Get to the cold, hard truth, right? Then what do we do next? Fixed business expenses. First thing in the fixed business expenses, your own salary. That number auto loads in SLAP from the previous page. So you don't get to edit it because you have to pay yourself that much money or else you can't pay your bills, right? So that's a given. And then how much money are you going to spend growing your business, right? You've got your SLAP AFA rate in there. And then what are your fixed business expenses? Then the things you have to pay for, whether you have revenue or not. Those two numbers side by side get you to a break-even number. You've got to know your break-even number. So if I asked all of you in the room, what's your break-even number? Maybe do a quick emoji on the screen. If you know it, give a thumbs up. If you don't, give another emoji that would be a reasonable depiction of not knowing your break-even number. Use your creativity for that emoji you put up. But let's just get a quick sense. This number you need to know to the dollar. Not, oh, I think I spend about $50,000 a year. Oh, I think my break-even's about 250. No, I want to know that your break-even number is $137,606.52. I want to know exactly what it is because we got to make that much money and more to be profitable. You cannot be profitable if you don't know what your break-even number is. Profit is a skill. It is based in reality. It is based in clarity. You've got to know the truth. So you've got to know that number and you've got to know exactly what it is because then we have to design revenue targets to make sure it exceeds your break-even number at a minimum, right? Or else we cannot be profitable. So break-even number, first moment of absolute God-honest clarity. You've got to know it down to the dollar and it's got to be based in the cold, hard truth. Then we go talk about revenue, right? All the things that you can sell, right? And again, the trick on revenue and the trick on precision is you have one what in your SLAP statement, and your income streams are all of the ways that you can sell what you do, right? Silver Lining sells SLAPs. Our revenue streams, our income streams are the ways we can sell SLAP, right? We obviously sell SLAP Center subscriptions. We sell partnerships where partners bring SLAP to their small businesses. I get paid to speak about SLAP, right? So we don't have many revenue streams. We only have 3 at Silver Lining, but we have those 3 revenue streams. But we don't sell 3 different things. We sell SLAP 3 different ways. Do you see that? Good businesses have 3 to 5 revenue streams that sell what they do in different ways. They don't sell different whats. They sell what they do in different ways. So you want 3 to 5 revenue streams that sell your one what, but in different ways, okay? Different price point, different packages, different ways, different delivery methods. And then you set your sales price. Every single one of you should increase your sales price by 25%. Just do it. Just do it. Small businesses chronically undercharge. Chronically undercharge. What is one of the best ways to grow your profit? Increase what you charge without increasing the expenses against it, right? That's one of the absolute best ways and quickest ways to increase your profit. So you want to make sure that you are selling what you sell at a price that is fair and reasonable to you. Most of the time you are not. Most of the time you are being too fair and too reasonable to your customer and not fair enough and reasonable enough to yourself. There is almost always room in the market to increase your prices. Here's a trick. Increase them by 5% and don't even talk about it. No one will notice. Increase them by 10%. Maybe some people will notice, but most people won't, right? Or increase them by 25%. Send a bold email to all your customers and say, you know what? I haven't increased my prices in a long time. This is what we're worth. Here it's 20. It's still a great deal for you if you want to be audacious. But you can do incremental increases to your pricing. Think about this. If you increase your prices by 5%, you sell the exact same number of sales this year, and you don't spend more money, you just increase your profit by 5%. That's how you grow profit. You keep your expenses at bay and you figure out how to increase your income without having to do extraordinary more levels of work. Your price point is your number one move to make. Number one. And almost every single one of you, again, I could sit in a room, I would be shocked if any of you could not increase your prices by 5%. Astounded. And no one will even notice. So just do it. Just do it right now and no one will even notice. Okay, then the trick to the business is, and this came up earlier, the trick to the business is right here. This is the part that seems so boring and so lost in your one-year goal and so irrelevant and this is it. When you want to learn that profit is a skill, it is actually the profit margin on every single thing that you sell that is at the root of your core profitability. So these variable expenses, just because you sell something at $350 doesn't mean you keep $350 towards your break-even number. You have expenses, labor and materials, okay? So if you sell something and it requires more staff time and you're gonna have to pay your team more hours of work to do that, that needs to be added in. If you ship something and there's a shipping cost, that needs to be added in. If you have, I'm seeing Jose in the room, if you create furniture and the cost of wood has gone up, come back to your slab, increase the cost of wood to build the table you're about to sell, right? Your variable expenses and the relationship to your price point is where so much of the conversation around profit lies. If you really tell the truth about how, let me say something very important. Your own time is a variable expense. If you are required to deliver the thing you sold and it takes 12 hours of your time, put that in there because there's only so many hours you have. So if you only can deliver a certain number of hours and it has a cost to it, that's got to go in there. It's got to go in there. Most of the time, what will happen when you tell the cold, hard truth on this page with your underpriced pricing and your true variable expenses, your time, all your team's time, labor, materials, shipping, all of the things that you have to spend money on to deliver what you've sold, you're probably not profitable. Most people, when they get to this point and they tell the full truth, realize that the majority of their income streams are not profitable. This is the work to do. So if you want to know how to increase your profit, the skill of profit, it comes down to the cold, hard truth of your income streams. Are you charging enough? And what does it actually cost to deliver it? And here's the deal. If it's not profitable enough, right? And I'm just going to go to the next page, right? If we look at the Slab Center calculates it for you. So you just have to do the inputs, right? This is a good business, right? We've got one revenue stream with an 82% profit margin, one with a 90% profit margin, and one with a 66% profit margin. Let's just talk about that. That does not mean that that business is that profitable. That means that that's how much profit spits off of these sales to go cover the break-even number, right? We've got two layers of expenses to cover. We've got the variable expenses tied to income, and then all of the money that comes off of this money here, this profit, goes to cover the break-even amount. And we need to be making enough sales that we can cover the variable expenses, take the profit from each of those sales, apply it to our break-even expenses, and then get to our profit number, right? We got to make a lot of money. We got to be really profitable. So if you have a revenue stream that's less than 50% profit margin, it's probably not worth doing it. And on average, we should actually run this stat on our global community. Sashini, maybe we can think about doing this and doing a little report out for our Slapsters, just closed report just for our Slapsters. But I would guess the majority of Slapsters are probably operating with income streams that have profit margins under 25%. The math doesn't work, right? Because you need to spit off enough profit on every single thing you sell to go cover your break-even number, right? And then get your profit to take home afterwards. So we want you to have a business with income streams with at least a minimum of a 50% profit margin on every single thing that you sell, so that you have enough profit spitting off to cover your break even, so that you can then build profit on top of that. So if you're going in your Slap right now and you're looking at your revenue streams, we want everyone to be at least 50% minimum. That does not mean you have a 50% profit margin in your business. It means that your income streams have 50% profit margins, and your business probably only has a 5% profit margin because your break-even number needs to be covered by that profit. So the name of the game is to maximize these profit margins. And this is where innovation comes in. Small business owners always say to me, but Carissa, I'm innovative and I'm creative. I want to build new product lines. Okay. This, though, is where you need to apply your innovation and your creativity. Could you cut one of these revenue streams with a crappy profit margin? Maybe you've been selling the same thing for 40 years. It's not viable anymore. Don't do it. Cut it. Find a different way to sell what you do, right? Maybe one of your profit margins is at like 45%. And if you just increased your pricing by 10% and you figured out how to control your cost, right, by being more efficient over here, you could get your profit margin up to 60%. Great, keep doing it, but slightly shift how you're doing it. So the name of the game is to cut revenue streams that are not profitable enough, to add and innovate new revenue streams, but again, not just random new ideas, new ways of doing what you do, new ways of doing your what that are profitable. You can increase your pricing or you can decrease your variable expenses. Those are your moves. So when you're trying to figure out how do I get to my optimum profitability, you have a couple of moves to make. Number one, decrease your break-even number, right? So we go all the way back to that break-even number and we figure out every single thing that we can cut to make that number as small as possible. Now, we also want to live good lives. So don't make it so small that you can't go on a vacation, right? You've got to be in a healthy mindset. You don't want to be stressed. You want to live a good life. But the mission is to cut any fat you can. If you're going and buying coffee every day, make it at home. If you are spending a silly amount of money on something you don't use, stop it. If you've got subscriptions you don't use, cancel them. If you go on a vacation and you go to the most expensive resort, go to the one next door that's really, really nice, but save $1,000. If you are, you'll figure it out. Look at every single thing you spend money on and ask if there's a way to be more efficient with it, and cut everything you spend money on that you don't need. That is the first move to increase profit. Cut your break-even number. Cut those fixed expenses that you just don't need. The other really powerful move here is negotiate. Call your cell phone provider. See if you can get your bill down by 10%. Call your car insurance company and see if you can negotiate it. It's amazing what you can negotiate when you just call and ask for better deals. So there's a lot of ways where you can just manage these expenses. It is a worthwhile endeavor because the fastest way to increasing profit is to cut fixed expenses. This is the fastest move to increase profit. Get this number lower. So it may feel like, oh my God, Chris, I'm so busy. Why would I spend a day talking on the phone to negotiate my cell phone bill? Because every single dollar you cut is profit. Every single dollar you cut is money in your bank account. It is the fastest, most efficient way to profit. Cut your fixed expenses. Get them down. Okay? Your next move is to maximize your income streams, right? And like we just spoke about, It is to cut the income streams that are not profitable. And I don't mean 0% profitable. If you can't find a 50% profit margin on your income stream, you probably need to cut it. Okay. So cut the non-profitable income streams and add in new ideas. Find new ways to do what you do that are more profitable, and or increase your prices. All of you do 5% right now. Don't even think twice. I would challenge you to think about going all the way up to 20-25% increases. And then really tell the truth about the variable expenses. When you make the sale, what does it cost you to deliver it? And is there any efficiency in your time, other people's time, and materials to manage those variable expenses? Okay. And then you look at this full equation over and over and over again, right? SLAP will calculate it for you as you change those numbers. But then you look at revenue, profit, number of sales, and price point. And you play over and over and over and over and over again until you get to the point where you can look at that number. And the number one question to ask yourself when you look at these numbers is this realistic? Can I do this? Does this make sense? Have I ever sold this much before? Is this a number I have the capacity to accomplish? If I think about how much time and money it will take me to make this many sales, am I committed to it? Am I willing to sacrifice other things for it? Do I want this enough? And is it realistic enough that I'm willing to commit to it and do it? Because until it's true, you have not learned the skill of profit. You're just putting numbers in a platform and coming to meets and having a chat. This is not fun and games. This is not like random numbers we've added in. It's not a stretch goal, right? I hate the concept of a stretch goal. I said this to some of you that I saw in New York recently. We are adding in this new version of SLAP Center we're about to launch, a place where you can enter a stretch goal. Because all of you want a stretch goal so much. Carissa, I don't want to be realistic. I want to make $1 million this year. Okay, fine. But that's called a hope, a wish, a prayer, and a dream. It's of no good use to you. So we are going to let you write a stretch goal into SLAP Center, and then we're going to never look at it again because it's so unhelpful. But we're going to let you write it down so that you can all get off our backs and you can write down your stretch goal and you can feel so good about it. And then we're going to get to work and build a SLAP goal, which is time-bound, realistic, measurable, based in truth, covers your break-even number, has profit margins that are viable and sustainable so that you can be successful. So write down your stretch goal somewhere, fine. We'll hold it for you in a database somewhere. Who cares? Get to truth, get to reality. Profit is a skill. Profit is not a pipe dream. Profit is not a hope, a wish, a prayer, and a dream. Profit is a skill. And the skill is this: clarity, focus, discipline, managed fixed expenses, a lowered break-even number, an increased pricing, the cutting of revenue streams that are not viable, the creation of new revenue streams that are focused, that are extensions of what you do, not some new crazy idea that's going to keep you unfocused and split your time and money. Profit is the skill of looking at everything you sell and tracking the profit margin of it. And if it's not profitable, increasing the prices or managing the variable expenses or cutting it entirely because it's not a viable business idea. And constantly living in the creativity, not of going and imagining brand new brands, right? And designing new logos every day and spending tens of thousands of dollars on a website you don't need. This is the creativity of a business owner. This right here. Is your business profitable? Is it viable? Can you find creativity in what you sell and how you deliver it so that it is increasing in profitability and sustainability? This is where your innovation comes in. This is where your creativity should be applied. This is where you play and you tweak and you adjust. This is profit as a skill. This is the skill of profitability. So the mission in all of this, I said it would take me 10 minutes. It took me almost an hour, but here we are, is that profit is not an accident. It is by design. It is not about spraying and praying and hoping and dreaming. It is not about being so charismatic that everyone will love you. It is not about having 10 new ideas every day. It is not about launching new ideas every second 5 minutes. It's certainly not about a new website. It's certainly not about your next Instagram post. It is about precise, clarity, reality-based choices that will allow you to build a profitable, sustainable business. And it starts with your commitment to it. Do you really want it? And if you do, it is the design of it and the optimization of the numbers of it over and over and over again. And it's nothing that's not in SLAP. Everything that you need to learn the skill of profit, it is in your SLAP build. It is quite literally in the build. And so I'm going to open it up for questions. We're going to do 10 minutes of Q&A. Hopefully you've gone to the bathroom if you needed to go, because I just zoomed right by that break I said I was going to give you. So clearly my word is not reliable, and I hope you've taken care of yourselves. But let's do 10 minutes of Q&A. And the challenges I'm going to give you as you start to sit here and think in this are 3 things. Number 1, I challenge you to put 3 hours into your calendar right this minute. You don't have to do the 3 hours right now, but to block 3 hours in your calendar, but sometime in the next 5 days, right? Motivation is a fickle friend. And if you are feeling motivated to be more profitable right now, that will be gone by tomorrow morning when you wake up. Literally, it will go away. Motivation is of no good use to us. It is so unhelpful. But if you can use a tiny bit of motivation in this exact moment, put 3 hours in your calendar and go through the entire SLAP build process again. Listen to every video. You probably won't have to dramatically change your SLAP build, but with the context of this session, if you go back and you listen to the videos and the way that I teach you SLAP and the way that I teach you each page of the choices I want you to make, you will build a better SLAP. You will tweak it in such a way that will have a direct impact on your profit. SLAP is something that, like, the more you learn it, the more you can master it and the more you can be clever with it. And so I honestly, I listen to my own videos of myself talking about SLAP and I tweak my SLAP because it's not about me. It's about continuing to apply the methodology and getting better and better and better at it. And so I would challenge you to spend 3 hours and go back and do your SLAP build again, beginning to end, the whole thing. Listen to it with this perspective. Listen to it with a different point of view than the first time you did it, and just go again. Go again. Tweaking, right? Again, profit is precision. You will tweak and you will optimize to success. There's no like big thing you're going to do that's going to magically get you there. The second thing I would say is that if you really think it's time to rethink your SLAP goal, in particular, the numbers, and you want to do that, I would spend a whole hour with a SLAP expert just looking at your numbers, your break-even number, your income streams, your profit margins. And if that is something that would be helpful to you, just go into chat right now. And we will have Columbo grab all the names of people that want it, and we will reach out to you to schedule those calls so that we can give you guys that support. But do a money review. Go through just that SLAP goal section and really get into the numbers of your business and really call it on hard things you might have to try, cut things that aren't working. Think of new ideas, new hows to do what you do. Think about how to increase your profit margin on every single income stream. And then my third challenge to you is, if you are committed and if you do the work to get your goal really, really precise, make sure you've got enough of that structure and support. Do you have monthly mindset calls? Do you need more support? Do you go to a strategy meet once a month, right? Do you have the infrastructure? Have you basically built your SLAP infrastructure to maximize your outside and external support so that you can keep iterating? There's never going to be a moment where any of us have this figured out. I built the methodology. I teach it probably 1,000 times a year. I speak to small businesses and my team every single day about SLAP, and I'm still iterating and optimizing how I build Silver Linings profitability. This is a forever thing. You don't master it. You're not ever done. It's not an ego thing. You're not weak if you show up to SLAP meets for 5 years. I do it every day. I've been doing it for 19. If you guys think that there's something to be said about my approach, I live everything I'm teaching you every single day, and I have for 19 years, and I will never stop. It doesn't end if you want to be successful. It doesn't end. I'm constantly tweaking and prioritizing and baking myself in conversation and community to force my thinking, to remind me of the basics, to bring me back to what I need to do. So are you doing that, right? For the long term, not for a minute, not for a month, not for a year, but are you leveraging all of the support that you can to bring yourself back to these basics and to keep grounding yourself and to keep optimizing, right? Ground in reality, optimize, optimize, optimize. That's the formula for long-term success. So go through your SLAP beginning to end, book a 1-hour call with a SLAP expert to look at the numbers, make sure you're maximizing structure and support so that you really, 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 really keep living in this, because we'll have all sorts of ahas today, and then we'll need to have them again tomorrow, and then the next month, and then the next month for the rest of our lives, because this is where people get really savvy, right? We keep grounding in it, and then we keep getting better at it. And that combination for the long term in community, right, is where we learn the skill of profit. So do we have any questions? What is coming up? I know that we're so close to the end. I think also if you guys put questions into chat, if there's a lot of questions that we don't have time to answer, you have my commitment that I will sit in a room and I will write answers to every single question. And then we will email out those answers to everyone here. So if you guys want to fire in questions to chat, I will answer as many as I can. And also I will answer anything that I don't get to in a share out afterwards. So talk to me. What else do we want to know? I'm just going through all of the chats. I'm loving the people that are asking for meetings with SLAP experts. The #1 character trait of people that succeed is asking for help. FYI, you are not cool and strong if you don't ask for help. You are cool and strong if you do ask for help. FYI. Okay. Okay. There's a question here that someone DM'd me. Whether are we encouraged as Slapsters to keep revising the action plan goals as we learn and do a reality check, or stick to the plan, see it through the year, and then adjust the end of the year? That's a very good question. In general, I believe when you set a goal, you should stick to it. I think it's about integrity. I think we should be honest enough up front that we set a realistic goal and then we actually accomplish it, right? So I am a very big believer that when you set the 1-year goal, you hold and you deal with it. That being said, if you're a first-year Slapster, then I think, and there's something in this session that makes you think, oh, wow, I really think I want to go back and redo my SLAP, do it. Go back and do it now. I don't like doing it constantly. That just means we're not committed. But I do think that if there's a profound realization, or if there's a moment in time, like maybe this session that is deep and detailed and you know, maybe provocative enough that it does call for a rethink, yes, you want to be operating with the right goal. So what I would say is the mission is to get so honest and so clear and so practiced that you set the right goal every year, and then you're doggedly determined to hit it. But if you come to the realization that you don't have the right goal, we got to fix the goal, because trying to pursue a goal that is not a good goal will build neural pathways of failure, which we don't want for any of us. So if you're clear you don't have the right goal, definitely go fix it. And as you fix the goal, what I want for you is that in future SLAP years, right, you're building the skill of setting that right goal so that you don't have to do that in future years. The ideal version is that you are absolutely committed to the goal you set. You don't change it. You go for a year. And then with those learnings, you set the next year's goal. The caveat is if you've got the wrong goal, you got to get it right. Okay. When you talked about having several versions of a product, I'm a product maker. Do you make bundles? For example, taking my soap and pairing it with oil. I love that. Absolutely. So when you think about your income streams, these are very good questions to go through with your SLAP expert on a call. You could be looking at having different price points for products, like high-end, mid-end, lower versions of the same product. You could be looking at how you package things. You could be looking at building in subscription models. You could be looking at things like memberships. You could be looking at things like you know, if you're a graphic designer, a logo with a maintenance package, right? So in general, the trick with income streams is you want to figure out how to sell more together. In general, you want to really figure out how to either get long-term sales. I love subscriptions. I love memberships. I love monthly payments. I love anything where you make a sale once and you continue to make money. And I also love bundling, where maybe you can get more money out of one sale without having a lot of additional expenses. You can ship 2 things for the cost of 1 shipping and get 2 sales at once. So in your revenue streams, you want to be thinking about the most clever way to maximize the amount of revenue that you make on each revenue stream and the recurrence of the revenue. Okay, I love Justin's point. I would love to meet with Victor, but I want to work in gathering my real numbers. If you guys do those calls with Slap experts, bring your bank statements, bring your credit card statements. We can help you guys get to cold hard truth. I think that that's a great steeped in reality comment from Justin. I'm going to gather my real numbers. Gather your real, love that, love that. Profit is the income that comes after we've paid ourselves. Yes, no. You are a fixed expense. You need to pay yourself a salary, all of you. Your president of your business salary is a fixed expense. Profit comes after you've paid yourself. What about when you had really great success in the first year and a half and then the landscape drops? Yeah, it happens. Things are going to change. External circumstance changes all the time. We're going to have good quarters, bad quarters, good economies, bad economies, elections, natural disasters. Absolutely. There are all health, illness issues, right? There are so many unexpected external factors that we will face as business owners. The name of the game is to be dedicated to your goal and flexible in your actions. So as the landscape changes, how do you have to change your actions to stay in the game? So actions equal results. Our job is to be fixed on clear goals and to constantly adjust our actions to meet the demands and the realities of the current moment. So there is always a way to make money. There's always a way to make a sale. But if the circumstance or the landscape changes, you will have to change your approach to making the sale. So you respond to the moment. You don't react, you respond. And you don't live doing the same thing you used to do. You have to change what you do. But you can keep making sales. The answer is always to keep making sales, to find the opportunity, to stay focused and disciplined. Yes, Alexis, we will send you guys the recording of this, as well as any other questions that I have not answered yet. I know we're at time. I want to be conscious of that. But I just want to do a 1-word close. So before we leave today, as you think of your 1-word close, type it into chat. But the things I want to challenge you are 3 hours in your calendar, go back and do build beginning to end. Book a time with a Slap expert and go through your numbers and do what Justin said. Bring your real numbers, gather your real numbers and get to work. In 1 hour, you can have the best 1-year goal. 1 hour, you can get to clarity on exactly how to get to profitability, right? And then number 3, make sure you've got enough of the structure and support of this community so that you continue to optimize. This is not a 1-moment situation. We need to continually optimize our plans so that we can optimize our profit. Profit is a skill. Commitment is a choice. Mindset is a muscle. Success is science, okay? That you need all 4 in alignment to succeed. So I'm seeing the 1 words here. To ask for the help you need. Strong, successful people ask for help. It is not weak, it is strong. And as we finish, we're motivated. Good. Translate that motivation into action right now before you lose it. Confirmed, change, mind-blowing, doing it. That's 2 words, Valeria, but I accept it because I like them a lot. Doing it, and it has an exclamation mark, which I really like. Alignment, invigorated, aligned, encouraged, empowered, ready, excited, and nervous. But I love how she tried to make it 1 word. Crystal Nicole, I see you. I appreciate your efforts to pretend that's 1 word. Aligned, so important. Movement, yes. right? If you're feeling stuck, just start taking action. Just start moving. Movement is momentum building. The more you move, the more you will move. Inspired, determined. Yes, I love the word determined. Just like, let's just get to it. Commitment. Thank you, Anne. Commitment is a choice. It starts with that. Enlightened, action, execute. Yes, Pat and Herman, back to action. Actions equal results. Okay. The answer to everything always is if you guys need anything at all, email support@smallbusinessline.com, call 844-393-SLAP, reach out to us. If you need anything, just let us know. And our team is so committed to you and will direct you to whatever we can possibly do to help you get everything that you possibly need to succeed. And thank you. It is so much fun for me to be in these rooms with all of you. I'm so grateful for every single person that is here. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for putting up with me when I say I'll talk for 10 minutes and then I talk for an hour. I really appreciate your grace. We know that I'm very predictable in this way. But it's a real honor to be in this with all of you guys. And I'm very grateful for each of you. So let us know how we can serve and support all of you. And let's do it. Let's do it. Profit is a skill and you guys have it. So let's go apply it and let's make this happen. Thank you guys.